Welcome back. Man, it's been a couple of months since I've gotten a video up. Been crazy busy trying to get things ready for the beginning of the year. And before we get into this video, I just want to mention real quick, I have a new channel going up called Lifeline Training. Our business is Lifeline Training, and we have a CPR business. And we teach CPR, AED, basic life support, first aid, stuff like that. But along with that, we also teach handguns. How to shoot, handgun safety, proper grip, trigger control, stuff like that. But I'm also going to be doing, reviews on guns, a lot of stuff on shooting, how to shoot correctly, a lot of stuff on handgun safety, a lot of things on knives. We are also active shooter instructors, my wife and I. So there's going to be some stuff on that. What happens if somebody comes into your place of business, and they're armed and they're, there to do bodily harm to people. So we're going to be going over stuff like that. And in addition to all that, we're going to be doing some self-defense stuff. I have a black belt in martial arts. My wife is currently in martial arts, learning a bunch of really cool stuff. A lot of fun taking martial arts with my wife. I really enjoy it. And so we're going to be doing a lot of hand-to-hand combat type stuff. What happens if somebody comes up on you with a knife, with a gun, grabs you from behind, whatever have you. How to strike, different types of kicking techniques and all that stuff. We're going to be doing that. And on top of that, we're also going to be doing some recipes for eating healthy. Protein is the hardest thing to get into your body. Like me, I got to have 200 grams of protein per day. It is very hard to get. So my wife, who's a fantastic cook, is going to be putting stuff up there, healthy snacks and stuff, things that you can make. We're going to do little videos and put them up on that channel. So if you're into that kind of stuff, if you want to learn some self-defense, learn about handguns, knives, whatever it is, or if you just want to learn to live healthier, then you might want to check this channel out. It is called Lifeline Training. That is our business here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I'll put the link up in the description. So enough about that for now. Let's get on with the video. So I know you've heard me mention this if you watch my channel, that I watched a video a long time ago and this guy said, if you're not alternate picking everything, then you're not playing guitar. And of course, I'm like, oh my God, I got to learn to alternate pick everything. Well, in my quest to be the ultimate alternate picker, I quickly realized that I will never be the ultimate alternate picker. It's very hard. Alternate picking is very hard, and it takes a tremendous amount of time and dedication to get this right hand just working absolutely flawlessly. And this is nothing you're going to achieve in a month or two or anything like that. It's going to take a lot of time. And don't get me wrong, I know guys who have amazing right hands that it's just mind-boggling to watch them pick things. But also, these are guys that have been playing guitar, now I've been playing guitar a long time, so I don't want to say that part of it. But these are guys, that have been playing guitar for years and years and years, and their life has been the guitar. That's what they do. They're professional musicians. They play every single day, hours a day, because it takes that kind of dedication to get that good. Eddie Van Halen did not get that good overnight. And if you watch any of the documentaries about Eddie Van Halen, even Alex Van Halen said all he did 12, 14 hours a day was sit around and play guitar every single day. And that's what it takes to get that good. Well, a lot of us who have regular lives, we don't have that kind of time. So it's really hard for us to absolutely be a master at alternate picking. And God knows I've tried, and it is an absolute nightmare. Now, I am using a full-size pick here. It is easier with a jazz pick doing that, but this is what I've been using lately because I play in an 80s rock band, and these flimsy picks, very good at pick slides and stuff. Jazz picks, not so much. And what we play is a lot of that, so I've been using this lately, and it's a lot of fun playing with this pick. So anyway, when I got into all that stuff, I just started thinking, you know what? There's no way. I don't have enough time left in my life to become the greatest alternate picker in the world. It's just never going to happen. So there's ways around this. And I know if you've been watching a lot of YouTube, if you're a musician, you've seen everything in the world about pick slanting, upward pick slanting. Downward pick slanting. That's what I see most of, which is this. You can see my hand, how I turn my hand. I hope this is in focus here. But you see how my hand is here, and the pick is turned this way. So we're downward pick slanting. And if you've never done it, it's actually very hard to get into the habit of downward pick slanting because it changes the motion of your hand. Because most people who play guitar have a tendency to pick very flat. And even the greats, I'm talking the greats, if you watch them when they're playing, they will pick very flat and then they'll rotate at certain times depending on what they're doing. They're not constantly playing like this, unless you're Zach Wild. He constantly plays like this. But a lot of them will play very straight like this, but then their hands, if you notice their hands and their fingers will move and they'll rotate the pick around depending on what they need to do. And even that takes a tremendous amount of time. And so a long time ago, when I started playing, when I first started getting into it, I didn't know anything about downward pick slanting, upward pick slanting, nothing like that. I just naturally became an upward pick slanter to where my pick is more this way. And that's just how it felt natural to me to do it because of the way that I played. That's just kind of how it was for me. But even at that, there was a lot of caveats with pick slanting. And what it comes down to, unless you're a masterful picker, you simply cannot alternate pick everything. And like I showed at the beginning, if we come over here and let's say we do a downward pick slant and we're going to play 3 notes, well, now we're caught under the string right here. So that means we would have to jump over these strings, and by then what you're playing is completely out of time because it takes too long to make that jump. So you'd have to start with an upstroke. Now you have the escape and you're set up for the next string. But once again, you're caught in between right here. All right, so if you're an upward pick slanter, you have the same exact problem. If you start with a downstroke, you've got escape, so you're ready for your next stroke, but now you're caught again. And even if you start with an upstroke, well, now you're caught right out of the gate. As soon as you start, you get caught between the 2 strings. So alternate picking inherently does have problems. And the guys who alternate pick everything, if you watch them very closely, their hands are constantly doing this. And it almost has to be, because I was watching this video and the guy's an amazing guitar player. And he said, in order to play this passage correctly, you're going to have to play it 6 notes per string. And you know, I never really thought about it that way, but if we start with a downstroke and we go 6 notes per string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, now we have the escape right here. So when we go to the next string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we have the escape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, escape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so on and so on. But that only works with even number strokes. It doesn't work with odd number strokes, and that's where the problem comes in with alternate picking. If I wanted to do 2 strokes, let's say, and we're going to alternate pick, and we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you can see I've escaped every single time. And the same thing if I'm doing with downward picks, upward pick slanting, if I go, you know, if I start with an upstroke and I go 1, 2, I've escaped. So basically all I have to do is just keep the motion and move my arm up as I'm doing it. But what happens when you go to 3? Well, that's where the problem is. And when I was watching him say that, I was like, well, what if I don't want to play in even notes? Then I got to thinking, well, if you start certain things, if you're doing even notes and you start on a downstroke, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let me get off my pick here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's great. But what if what I'm playing is on odd number notes? Okay, that changes everything. So what if I'm going to do 5 and I start with a downstroke? If I'm downward pick slanting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now I'm caught. Okay, well, you have to start with an upstroke if you do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. But when I go to the next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm once again caught. But even if it's just 5 and 5, I don't want to have to sit there and mentally think, well, I got to start this with an upstroke or it's not going to work. I got to pick everything evenly or it's not going to work. I don't want to have to think about all that when I'm playing guitar. I just want to play the damn guitar and have fun. I don't want to have to sit here and think about everything I do to see if it's going to line up. So the easiest way to get around that is to economy pick. Because if you're economy picking, now all of a sudden, pick slanting doesn't really matter that much. I can hold my pick flat, and if I start with an upstroke, 1, 2, 3, I'm already, let me mute this a little more. And now I don't have to worry about pick slanting up, pick slanting down. I don't have to worry about alternate. I'm still alternate picking, but I'm not alternate picking every note because I'm kind of just pushing my pick through the next note. Because if you think about this, what is the shortest distance between 2 points? Well, that would be a straight line. Well, would it not be better to go 1, 2, 3? Oh, let me start with this with an up. 1, 2, 3. And then we have 1, 2, 3. That's pretty efficient, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But so is this. That's pretty efficient too. And it's a lot less movement. If you look at the movement, when I do this, I'm sorry, I got to start with an upstroke because I'm doing 3s with a downward pick slanting. There's a bit more movement there. But it makes sense. It's comfortable. It's alternate picking. But if I do this, it just seems to make a little more sense. Because now all I have to do is keep my hand moving back and forth. I can simply pull my arm up because I don't want to change the break too much of my wrist. I don't want to start here and then start doing this because it's just nearly impossible. So you want to start pulling your arm up. But if I'm doing that and I just keep moving everything in this direction, all of a sudden it's not that hard. And it seems, like I said, pretty dang efficient. And we're still alternate picking. And it works the same way if you're ascending, because here we're descending. So let's say that I'm going to ascend, because I was descending before, now I'm going to ascend. And I'm going to start with a downward pick stroke, downward pick slant, and I'm going to start, 3 notes per string. 1, 2, 3. Well, I'm already caught here. So I would have to start this on an upstroke. But as soon as I do, I'm caught here again. Now, even if I do it with upward pick slanting, here you can see I've got escape. So now I just got to do this, but now I'm caught again. So what if I economy pick this? Because I'm just kind of pushing through. Then all of a sudden the pick slanting is not quite as important. Now, one thing about it is you cannot have a tremendous amount of your tip hanging out. If you've got way too much guitar pick hanging out, then it's going to get all kinds of caught in there. But if you got a little bit, it's like if you're using a jazz pick and you rotate your pick just a little bit, and to where you just have enough to over the top of the strings. And then you just gotta push through it. Now, something else you want to be careful for is you don't want to lock your wrist when you're doing this, and because then you're getting into this motion, and that's not going to be fluid. It's the same principle as alternate picking. You want to pick from your wrist, and you don't want to be so rigid that you hear that, all that string snap. You want to be a little lighter on it, just like that. And like I said, it works if you're descending or if you're ascending. But one thing I wanted to show you real quick, because I see even the best pickers do this. The best way to alternate pick is on a single plane, which is one string. As soon as you start moving the strings, that's where alternate picking becomes very, very complicated. All right. Now, for whatever reason, I'm much better at alternate picking this way as opposed to this way. That's just how it is. But there are shortcuts you can even take for that. There's quite a few of them, actually. So if you fall into one of those camps where you're better in this direction or this direction, and I kind of think that most people are probably better in this direction than this direction. But here are a couple of cheats to even get around those problems. All right? So if you're going to come up, and now I do not have a lot of distortion on this, so it's going to be, so obviously you can do this. Let me see if I can get all, so you can see the left hand. It's gonna be out of focus. So obviously you can do everything legato. And I got this from a guy years ago. I was watching him do it and I was like, dude, that is actually pretty slick. I never really thought about it playing it that way. What he does, so what you do is if you have 1, 2, 3, what he's doing is he'll a little bit of a pick slant, a downward pick slant, and he'll go 1, 2, then he hammers on that third note. And that way, he's almost alternate picking everything, but he can keep his alternate picking going. The rhythm feeling is a little off because it's not just, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. But once you get that up to speed, it actually sounds very, very good. And it's very convincing that you are alternate picking everything. If you're struggling, getting in, and like I said, if we're doing 3 notes per string, you simply can't alternate pick it unless you're one of those guys that has that magical hand that knows how to move this hand around and do all that and rotate the fingers and, go from upward pick slanting to downward pick slanting and all that stuff. Most of us cannot do that. So if you have a downward pick slant or an upward pick slant, don't matter, because you just start with an upstroke and you've got your escape right here. So if you start with an upstroke and you got the hammer on, and it works very, very well. And what I'm doing, and you can see in my hand, but you can hear the 3 notes. And you hear that extra note off the 2 picks. So the point I'm trying to make here is you don't have to alternate pick everything. There are ways around it. And if you're not alternate picking everything, then you're not playing guitar. That's absolutely not true. There's a million, if that was the case, all the great legato players would not be playing guitar. They would just be out there wasting time, and there's some amazing legato players out there. And they're shockingly good, and it works fantastic, and that's how they play, and there's nothing wrong with that. And most really, really, really good legato players, they suffer on the right hand. Not because their right hand is lame, but because they spent so much time here. And when they started noticing, well, I got problems here, they just started making up the difference on the left hand, which is what a lot of us do, which is what I did when I started playing. I started making up the difference here through pull-ons and pull-offs, hammer-ons and pull-offs and stuff like that. What I didn't know that ultimately that was hurting my right hand, that all those years ago I should have went through and tried to pick everything. If you notice the really great guys, a lot of them hold their fingers like this, their hand. And what they're doing is they're incorporating these 2 fingers when they're picking. And it's not really chicken picking per se. They're using it as picks to catch odd notes. What do I mean by that? So if we do this little... Now, if you notice right here, if I start with a downstroke, 1, 2, 3, I've escaped. But right here, I want to catch this note. Now, what you can do is you can economy pick that. Okay, very simple. But why would you do that? Because your right hand's always going to be best when it's in one place at a time. So instead of doing this, because now, if I'm a downward pick slanter, I'm caught. If I'm an upward pick slanter, I'm clear and I can continue on. But why not just do this instead? And no matter how good the guitar player is, I probably see this technique more than anything else. When they're jumping around the notes and they start with a pick, and they go 1, 2, 3, I'm clear because I'm an upward pick slanter. Instead of down picking here and economy picking, they'll go and they'll pick that note, and that keeps their pick on this same plane. So now my next plane is going to be right above it. So that way they're not having to do this. And they're eliminating a lot of the hand movement. And they can simply go and use that finger. And I see them engage these 2 fingers right here all the time when they're doing this. Some guys will use this finger. Some guys will use this finger. And it just depends on what's more comfortable to you. But that way it keeps your pick on a particular string to where you're not just jumping all over the place like this trying to get things done. And that really works if you're doing a passage to where, you know, everything, if you're going to ride this, you know. If you want to add that extra little note in there, it's so much easier just to grab that note. And that one's probably the most handy one that I use out of all of them, because that way I don't have to keep moving my pick back and forth between strings, because that's where alternate picking gets hard, is going between strings. On one string, it's easy. So why don't we eliminate, if we're going to pick this way, why don't we eliminate having to go back down and just use our middle fingers to do that? Now you'll see the greats do it because they play like this a lot of times, and if you notice, if you can slow down their right hand, if they got a good right hand video, you'll see them when they're playing doing this a lot. And they'll be picking with these two fingers. And I noticed that more than I probably notice anything else. I noticed that a lot more than I notice economy picking, where you're just pushing through the strings. Guitar is a very odd beast. It's a very weird instrument. Most stringed instruments has a bow that goes across the strings. This one has a pick. And what this little thing does is it irritates the life out of us because it loves to get caught between strings. So therefore, we got to work out the details to keep it from getting caught in between strings. But we also got to work out the mechanics that work best for us. And if you're not the absolute amazing great alternate picker that you may or may not be, but if you're not, there's plenty of ways to get around it through economy picking, and then also from bringing in other fingers to grab picks, or simply just lighten the load of the right hand, like when we're doing the up. You know, it's 1, 2, hammer on. And then if you're downward pick slanting, well, you're always free. See? You're always free. And if you're upward pick slanting, you're always free too. And it just works out brilliantly like that. So I'm going to wrap this video up. Hopefully it's not 2 months before I put another one up. If you get a chance, go to my other channel. Well, please subscribe to this channel by all means. It's very important to get people to subscribe. But if you get a chance, and if you're into guns and knives and you want to learn how to shoot, better life habits, if you want to learn about knives and, you know, some self-defense stuff, and we're going to be doing a lot of videos on CPR and active shooter and all that stuff. If you're into that or just want some information, go check out that channel. I'll put the link down below. That channel is live right now, and I do have one video up, just kind of a tester video to put up, but we will start hitting that very, very hard after the first of the year, because that's when we're taking our business. That's when everything's going live at the first of the year. So I just wanted to get that out there. Please subscribe to that channel as well if you're into that type of thing. If you're not, then, well, there's no reason for you to subscribe. On this channel, please subscribe, please like and share the video. That helps out tremendously for what we do. And until I get the next video up, keep playing guitar and everybody be safe.